right, hi kids, welcome back. It's Officer Greg Partham. We're going to continue today with the Dog Chronicles Murphy Gold Rush, set in 1900s. It's by Allison Hart. And again, I'm here with my best bud, Justice. Very quiet, but one of the best listeners I know. Way cool. All right, so here we go. I'm going to read a couple chapters. That's what we'll try to stick to, a couple chapters a week, and hopefully you're listening in. And like I said, I was really enjoying this story. What'd you think, Justice? Good story? Yeah? All right, here we go. Chapter 4, Beaches of Gold. Again, this is the book. All right, June 28th, 1900. This rope goes here. Sally hammered a wooden stake into the sand. The tent was halfway up and it flapped in the chilly wind. I tried to help by holding the stakes in my mouth until she and Mama needed them. Sally and Mama had stayed at a boarding house run by a family called Owen for many days while they found their bearings in Nome and the right place to pitch their tent. No dogs were allowed inside the boarding house, so I slept in the library with two skinny horses. Sally visited me every day, but the barn was not a home. I was excited when they chose a spot on the beach and moved out of the boarding house. Crouching, Sally studied the ground. Look, Mama, this is where the gold is in the sand, just like Mr. Owen said. Letting some slip through her fingers, she picked out several small flakes. Here's a picture of what's going on. We're not here for the gold, Mama said. We'll make a living off the prospectors and shopkeepers. They will need advertising, contracts, and wills. Hooking her head around the side of the tent, she added, and letters home. But if we find gold, you won't have to work in an office. Sally dug again in the sand. We can stake our own claim and find enough nuggets to buy a house for the winter. That is if we stay. Mama bent over to pound a steak. You've heard your grandfather's stories about Nome winters. I barked for them to hurry. Summer nights were cold in Alaska. We needed to finish getting the tent up. When the sun finally fell, so would the temperature. Sudden storms sometimes blew in from the sea without warning, and shelter was important. Prickles of fear filled me as the sun dropped lower in the sky, and not just because of the weather. Nome was a reckless town. Two ladies on the beach attracted a lot of attention, and many men had come by to introduce themselves this afternoon. All had been gentlemen, but that would not always be true. Darkness brought out the worst in men. I needed to stay vigilant, and the tent needed to be up for some protection. I woofed again. Yes, we will hurry, Murphy. Sally checked the tent peg and rope. We will all need a bath before turning in for the night. You smell like rotten fish and horse droppings, and I smell like cigar smoke and sauerkraut. I doubt the ladies of San Francisco would invite us to tea, Mama murmured. Sally laughed. I jumped up to lick her cheek, my paws leaving black streaks on her pinafore. Oh, Murphy, the ladies would definitely not invite us now, she said as she tried to brush off the dirt. When the last stake was in and the tent was secure, Sally, Mama, and I eyed it with pride. This is our new home, Sally said softly. Home? The word sounded wonderful, as wonderful as bacon. For now, Mama said, let's hope we can save enough for a cabin. Though with a can of peaches costing $5, we may spend all of our money on food. Come, let's gather fresh clothes and find a bathhouse, Mrs. Owen said. The best one for ladies was in the Dexter Hall. Sally grabbed the end of the trunk and began to drag it inside the tent. When I tried to follow her, she shooed me away. After your bath, Murphy. There was that word again, bath. I'd never heard it before. When you were clean, you could come in and help us organize our new home. She dropped the canvas flat. Oh yeah, I'd rather have a clean dog than a stinky dog in a new place. I know.
Lieutenant Isham.
When you were clean, you can come in and help us organize our new home. She dropped the canvas flat. I stared forlornly at the closed flap. My eyes pricked so I could catch their voices. I didn't want to be away from them for an instant. Our money needs to be safe, Mama, Sally said. We must have it with us at all times. It has stayed in the pocket I sewed in my bloomers. I should carry some as well in case you are robbed. No gentleman would attempt to tear my bloomers, Mama gasped. These are not gentlemen. Mama sighed. You are correct, Sally. We were warned. There are no laws in Nome. Yes, Grandmama warned us of that at least 10 times a day, Sally giggled. That's kind of scary, no laws? Jeez, see what happens. Perhaps we should have heeded her advice, which has been as constant as the rising sun and as stern as a preacher's sermons for the past 12 years of my life. You were only 11, child. I know, They both broke into laughter. I did not know what made them so giddy, but the sound made me bark. Sally threw open the flap. Murphy says he is ready for a bath. I do not believe the hotel will allow a dog in its wash tub. Mama followed Sally out of the tent carrying a satchel, especially not one as huge and filthy as Murphy. Then we will ask someone where the workers bathe. It will save us money as well. Mama stopped. Oh, Sally, are we lowering ourselves to the status of scullery maids already? We must be practical, Mama, if we are to thrive in Nome and escape Grandmama's grip. She shuddered and I pressed my nose into her palm. She stroked my head. Perhaps we will make our fortune with your typewriter. Perhaps we will find gold. I don't care how we survive, but we will, because I will never go back to San Francisco and Grandmama's house. Never! I did not understand Sally's words, but I heard the determination in her voice. The same determination had helped me escape from Carlick. Tipping back my head, I bayed like a hound to let Sally know that I understood. Chapter 5, Another Narrow Escape. June 28th, 1900. Nome's beaches may be paved with gold, but Front Street is certainly not, Mama observed. The three of us made our way down the wooden walkway. I strutted in between Sally and Mama. My fur was fluffy and shiny, my spots glowing white. Now I knew what a bath was. It meant warm water and sweet soap. Sally and Mama were fresh and clean too. Sally had taken off my collar, which had grown so small it dug in him. I don't stink, you're full of baloney. Sally had taken off my collar, which had grown so small it dug into my neck. I was glad when she didn't put it back on. Instead, she tucked it into Mama's satchel and tied a red scarf around my neck. I would say Front Street is paved in rascals, Sally said. She held a parasol open to block the light snow that drifted from the darkening sky. I've counted 4 drunks, 3 pickpockets, and 2 hucksters, and the sun is not yet set. Mama arched one eyebrow. And how do you know what a huckster looks like, young lady? Grandpapa taught me to watch out for bears, moose, and hucksters. Sally gave Mama a sly look. There were many in the Klondike when he was there. I have also counted at least 50 interested suitors and heard 100 whistles. You are the prettiest lady in Nome. I appear to be the only lady in Nome, Mama said, at least at this time of night. Murphy will have to be our guardian in this godforsaken town, as Grandmama called it. Sally dug her fingers into the ruff of fur around my neck. I strutted, trying to look worthy. Nome does have, he's a tough dog, he's got to keep him safe. Nome does have some respectable stores among the saloons and dance halls, Mama observed, stopping in front of the bakery. My nose twitched happily. Sally gasped. Fresh baked bread? Can you work here, Mama? Perhaps. Tipping her head back, she read the sign. California Bakery. We must make note of all the shops and businesses where I can apply for employment. The bakery or the lumberyard might need inventory and accounts typed. Mrs. Owens suggested that Fox and Gibson might need claims and deeds recorded. Look, there's a circulating library. Sally hurried up the walkway. The building was closed for the night, but she pressed her nose against the glass. Perhaps they might let me borrow books in return for shelving them. Hey, lady! Someone grabbed Mama's shoulder and rudely spun her around. Where'd you get that dog? A bearded man wearing a tattooed boiler hat pointed at me. I scooted away from him and hid behind Sally. Pardon me, Mama yanked her arm from the man's grip. Do I know you, sir, for you to act so familiar? No, ma'am, but I think I know that dog. He belongs to Carlick. I recognized the man by his voice and his smell. He'd held out the sausage link to me, trying to catch me for Carlick. There's a reward of $15 and I aim to claim it. The man lunged for me, but I ducked farther behind Sally. Mama may have been speechless, but Sally was not. Get your hands off my dog, she snapped, swatting him with her parasol. With a yelp, he drew back. That is not your dog, he sputtered. Belongs to Carlick. What proof do you have? Sally demanded, the parasol still raised like a club. Proof? The man suddenly looked unsure of himself. Look, my name's Beckett. I don't mean no harm, but I believe the dog is Carlick's. We tried to catch him a while ago, but he got away. That's not proof, Sally scoffed. What is his name? What breed? Beckett's face turned red under the barrage of questions. He shifted his eyes to the crowd that was forming around us. I stayed low behind Sally's skirts. Do you and your daughter need help, ma'am? A man in a dapper suit asked. Thank you, sir, Mama murmured. I believe my daughter and I can handle this unfortunate situation. My heart hammered. Would Carlick's people take me away from my new family? But most of the men seemed to only have eyes for Mama, who drew herself upright. Mr. Beckett does. Mr. Beckett, does Carlick's dog have identification, she asked. Well, he shuffled his feet uneasily. Carlick's dog is big like this one, and Carlick said his dog has a collar with the name Murphy on it. Sally didn't hesitate. Our dog wears a silk scarf, not a collar. Flushing, the man began to back away. Yes, ma'am, I do see this dog has spots, and Carlick's dog is brown, so I apologize. Tipping his greasy hat, he quickly retreated. A few chuckles rang out from the group, and several people clapped. Mama nodded our thanks, and then took Sally's hand. Grab Murphy, she whispered, and together we rushed down the walkway toward the beach. When we were safely away from Front Street, Sally let go of my scarf, and Mama let go of Sally's hand. I am embarrassed that we had to resort to such dishonesty, she declared. And oh, such disrespectful behavior from you, young lady. Grandmama would surely have whipped me for my words, Sally admitted, but Mr. Beckett was no gentleman. Mama lowered her voice. We shall speak of Mr. Beckett's accusation once we get in the tent. We hurried across the sand, weaving around campfires, prospectors, and supplies. Only when we were inside our own tent with the flap firmly tied shut did Mama blow out a relieved breath. She dropped her satchel and lighted a candle lantern. Sally plopped down in her cot and pulled me close against her knee. Panting, I glanced around, liking the cozy area. A flowered rug was on the floor. Circling, I laid down on it, wondering if Sally and Mama would let me stay, now that I was clean. So according to Mr. Beckett, we are in possession of a dog that belongs to someone named Carlick, Mama said as she removed her coat. Carlick, I could not escape that name. No, Sally said stubbornly. Carlick's dog wears a collar. Mama pulled the collar from her satchel and held it up. You mean like this one? Sally refused to look at it. And the man said Carlick's dog wasn't spotted. You mean Carlick's dog was dirty brown, the color of Murphy, before he was bathed? Sally flushed, but her eyes stayed stubborn. Murphy belongs with us. If he loved this Carlick person, he would not have been living like a stray on the beach, all skinny and scared. I agree. All God's creatures should be treated with dignity. Mama dropped the collar in Sally's lap. But what are we to do about Carlick? He has even offered a reward. We'll just have to keep Murphy in the tent night and day, Sally said, until the men get tired of looking for him. That's not a realistic plan, Mama said. Murphy would not like being penned up, and we need him to be your guardian while I work. It appears that he needs us to be his guardian as well. Sally held tightly to the scarf around my neck. I've got an idea, smiling slyly. Mama lifted the lid of her trunk. Reaching inside, she pulled out a strange machine and set it on a small folding stool. Sally's eyes widened. What are you gonna type, Mama? Murphy needs a San Francisco dog license. I believe with the name Sally Ann Dawson as owner, as well as a ticket of passage that states he boarded the Tacoma bound for Nome on June 1st, 1900 in the company of his owner. Squealing with joy, Sally jumped up and flung her arms around her mother. Oh, Mama, I think you were the greatest huckster in all of Nome. Picking up the collar, she added, Murphy and I have a job to do. Come, boy. She untied the tent flap, and together we raced down to the water's edge. There she flung the collar as far out to sea as she could. Then she held my head in both hands and looked me in the eye. You are no longer Carlick's dog, she said solemnly. You are still Murphy, but now you belong to us. For a second, the collar floated on top of the surf. And then it disappeared. Pulling away from Sally, I bounded into the waves. I did not completely understand what had happened, but somehow I knew that I was free of Carlick, and it made me bark with joy. All right, well, that's the end of these two chapters. So it sounds like sometimes in life, lying is not a good thing, but they had to be a little dishonest to protect Murphy, which, I'd rather have him safe. All right, you guys stay safe too, and we'll catch up next time. Thank you.